Sometimes I wonder how truly special are we? Right? We're on this planet. Every day, we live life either the same way as before, or just slightly different. And then, for some reason, some of the things that we think about tend to come true. But for some reason, we decide to think that thoughts aren't really real. They're not real things. What we choose to imagine isn't something that can really take place in the real world. Because what could it, right? I just made it up. It's not real. I don't have any facts. There's nothing backing my claim, right? It's funny how we can have negative thoughts that put our positive thoughts down, which takes away the momentum from us pursuing the direction that brings us the most happiness. When we're in that imaginative state and we're thinking, what if this, what if that, we're considering possibilities. We're considering what life could be like. And sometimes we don't consider how those thoughts affects us, changes our emotions, and somewhere along the way, we are nudged to take action, no matter how big or small. These actions creates a chain reaction, like a ripple effect. This ripple effect has a way of creating its own harmonic frequency, interconnecting with reality, causing events to overlap one another. And at some point you find yourself at the forefront of something you were just thinking about only a few weeks prior. And now that you're at this moment in time where that thought is being realized, don't you feel a little lucky? Don't you feel like, hey, maybe there's a little bit more to this? How many more times can I get this lucky? We want a little bit more of that luck, that joyful, pure happiness, that feeling of gratitude, that feeling of knowing that, you know what? Life is special. It is something truly great, something to be admired. Alright, we're living in this reality where things tend to mimic what we think. Or rather, we become what we think. And what we choose to become has its characteristics, and the way those characteristics interact with society, everyday things that you would normally do, shapes your destiny a little bit more like what you're planning in mind. Because you're creating a destination, repeating certain thoughts over and over and over again. These thoughts are creating emotions that you are associating with on a daily basis with the actions that you're taking. So whether you're fixing cameras or cleaning the stairwell, you're doing it a little bit differently because your intention is coming from a totally different place. A place that you have not yet arrived to. In this moment in time, you're only aligning yourself with a possibility that you have no proof of. No way of stating that this is the case, this is going to happen. It's going to happen on this date. Here's the facts, here's the files. I called my secretary this morning. They got the information. It is a fact. No, man, it's more like you get this emotional feeling, and it's like that feels real. It's like one of those dreams you have where it's so lucid you swear that was no dream. It had to mean something. The entire day you go about, you're thinking differently, you're acting differently. You're still affected by that dream emotionally. You're affected. You will take actions based on that emotional state. Those actions can either be good or bad. But ultimately, we do learn from the things that we do, no matter what we're trying. Because we will make mistakes. Failure is inevitable. But the way we look back on things and learn from them changes us as we move forward, ultimately changing our past. Every day we get a second chance to do it better. That's all we need, just one more chance. To do it a little bit better, to do it a little bit differently. What would you do this time that you didn't do yesterday? What would you do tomorrow? Does tomorrow matter just yet? Maybe not. If what I'm doing today, I will most likely repeat tomorrow, if not better. Does tomorrow really matter? I guess it doesn't. If I cannot focus on the present moment, right now, and to be clear, as focused as possible on what I'm doing in this moment, if I cannot do that today, tomorrow, I would not be able to do it either. What I practice today becomes who I am tomorrow. We are merely the product of yesterday. Tomorrow is a foreshadowing of something that has yet to happen. I hope I said that well. But all that ever matters is what's going on right now. How important that is. See, we tend to get confused with the future and the past, as if the present don't mean anything. That's wrong, because if you're focused on what didn't go right the first time, which is technically the past at this point, maybe the first 900 times something didn't go right, you tried this, you wanted that idea to go this way, it didn't work. It doesn't matter, because you're still developing your character in the present moment. That's why we must notice what we do in the present moment, who we are in the present moment. See, that's the true you. Who we worried about becoming shouldn't be a factor in this moment. Because right now, you're creating the future in every single step you take, in every single little action, every thought forward, everything you do from this point forward, you're creating the future. So instead of wishing, just do the things that you think you would have in the future, or will likely be like in the future. You start doing that now, and you instantly become that. It's basically overnight. At some point, you've done it long enough, the results start to stack up, and guess what? You're right where you want to be. You didn't really have to fulfill any further requirements. You were the determining factor from the start. You just had to shift the way you look at it. Don't focus on the future. Focus on now. If you don't like the way the past was, don't do it like that anymore. Stop that pattern. The moment that pattern is stopped, you can now focus on the new pattern, the new actions, the new algorithm that you're creating, the new routines. Before, what was once there can no longer be there if you start replacing it. Forget about it. There aren't any newspapers being passed around that reminds people of the things they did wrong in the past. No one gets personalized newspapers to remind them of negative things. So why are we reminding ourselves about the things that we didn't do right? No one else is doing it for us. No one else is taking the time out their day to remind us of all these negative things. You got a few people who dedicate their time to that for some reason. It's a pretty odd job of business, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm pretty sure they motivate individuals. But what I'm trying to say is, mostly it is us creating that negative thought pattern, giving that negative foresight to our future as if, hey, you know what, if I worry enough, maybe I'll have enough precaution to protect myself from whatever I can't see coming. I mean, it's foolish, right? How you gonna prepare for uncertainty with uncertainty? I mean, be like, come on, man. I think what we really need to do is focus on something that uplifts us, that brings us to that state where we're proud to be who we are. When we're asked, what do we do for our free time? And our mind immediately goes to that place where we're happy. And you're just in that state of awe when you start to express that place for you. That inspires others to want to come out, step outside the boundaries of their comfort zone, and to see themselves as something special. Right? Isn't that what we all here to do? To really inspire, to be our own individual lights. You know, our own individual lighthouses for our own little sectors of darkness within. But the more we start to shine our light, we reflect it. You know, we reflect that light, and we give others a chance to have a glimpse of it. You know why? Because it ignites their spark as well. It shows them, hey, I can do that too. You start thinking of ways they can bring their light to the surface. So, guess what? At some point, you will see that light. And the areas of darkness within inside of you that still exist will be uplifted and brightened because of their actions. All thanks to yourself. We all owe it to ourselves. We all do. To do and to be the best for ourselves. We all owe it to ourselves. It's important. Because even if someone else tried to do it for us, it just isn't the same if we don't take enough consideration to love ourselves first. There's something, you know, really to be said about that. I'm not saying become egotistical or, self-obsessed, but to really appreciate your indifference, what makes you you. How do you choose to live your life? What makes you special? How do you appreciate that about yourself? Now, see, that's the real question. Well, how do you appreciate what makes you you? And when it comes to that, and you start to discover that, it's just, life has this new glow now. It's like you get to live in your second chance. You're no longer wasting second chances hoping that, hey, I'm gonna do better tomorrow. Your second chance became your last chance because you chose to say, hey, this second chance I got, I'm going to repeat this every single day. I don't want to start anything else over again or anything new. I like what I got right here. This is my winner. I'm going to choose to do what I set my mind to. This is important to me. This is something that I feel as though I must do. And the more I imagine it and think about it, I keep developing these ideas that just makes it even better than it was when I first initially started thinking about it. If that isn't confirmation to anyone out there, then I don't know what is. Right? Because everyone has those moments where it's just what if. What if I did this? What if I did it this way? Maybe it isn't always the best of ideas to go and ask someone else what they think first. Just ask yourself. Think to yourself. What if? the way it would make you feel. You consider that, consider how that would make you feel. In the process of feeling it, obviously, don't think it through. Like, all right, well, I'm gonna get ready for this feeling. Nah, man, like, as you ask yourself these what if questions, make sure you stay on track with everything you want to be possible. Because you're in the imagination, right? There's no rules. You say how you want it to come true based on what you believe you can do if you have to. Give yourself some concrete proof that, hey, what if I did it this way? I know I got some talent in this area. When I was 12, I used to draw, so maybe I got a little eye for color. Maybe I could try that. Anything. Give yourself some sort of reassurance if you need, but in the state of the imagination, create the reality. See yourself doing it. Take an action somewhere where you are now, and how that would lead you ultimately where you want to end up and be. Never assume it's not possible. Of course, you may try a few things that didn't work, but guess what? That gave you enough reason to try again, something different. It's the fourth and fifth idea that made the most sense, but you couldn't have got there without 1, 2, 3. Alright? You gotta take the initial steps. 1 step at a time, 2 steps at a time. Take a step back. At some point, you're gonna climb those stairs, and you're gonna be where you wanted to be. If you don't start, it wouldn't matter what pattern you had to take. You would have never got anything done if you didn't start. If you keep trying again because you keep getting off and getting back on, and if that's the problem, then that's something you need to overcome, right? You overcome that becomes the next attribute of your skill set. Now you have something new in your arsenal. So now as you tackle these newer and cooler and better ideas, you're not going to procrastinate. You've already changed. It's what you do in the present moment that changes the future. Rewriting the past. Don't we all have that chance? Would you like to have that chance? I know I would. I want me some of that chance. That'd be awesome. But ultimately, I think it's important that we give ourselves that chance. There's no point waiting for something to become a reality that wasn't already, real in the first place. It wasn't guaranteed. And that's why we make it possible. Because we bring certainty to the situation. We are the determining factor. And well, what else are you gonna do, right? Wait for nothing, but make something happen.